Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And once again, thank each and every one of you for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I truly, truly appreciate it. So look, what are we going to talk about today? As promised from last week's show, we are going to talk about leveraging your credit. So the last couple of shows got preempted basically because of all of the hacks and things that were going on and the Equifax breach settlement, things of that nature. So I had to push back what I was going to talk about, which has been leveraging your credit and how you're going to do so, right? So this week, as promised, we're going to talk about leveraging your credit. So now that you happen to been listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show, you've been working on your credit and whatnot, and your scores are moving up, then now what are you going to do with them? Because the whole point and purpose of doing this and me coming on here at the 800 Credit Score Man Show is to do what? Increase your credit scores. That's going to lower the interest rates that you pay, and it's going to save you money, right? So then that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about how you leverage that credit that you've got, that good credit that you have. And then for the people that aren't there just yet, once you get there, because that's the goal, right? You're going to get there. Nothing is impossible. Even in the word impossible, if you break it up, it says, I'm possible. So nothing is impossible. So once you get there, then you'll know some of the things that you can do to help yourself save some money, all right? So we're going to talk about that today on the 800 Credit Score Man Show. And so, I got to give some shout-outs, right? So top of the show, let me give some shout-outs. The youngest among us today happens to be Aubrey Bacon. She celebrated her 10th birthday. So happy birthday to you, Aubrey Bacon. That's my little cousin, you guys. So happy birthday to you, Aubrey. I got to give a huge shout out. Today is her birthday. Huge shout out to Shakina Bullock. That's my day one. We go way back, like 4 flats on the Cadillac. That is my day one. So Shakina Bullock, happy birthday to you. I'm sure she'll be celebrating the whole month of August. So happy birthday to you, Shakina. I got to give a shout out to Kim Verner as well. Talk about a songbird, a woman that knows how to direct the choir and get her sing on. Happy birthday to you, Kim Verner. And of TV fame, Lauren Mack, M-A-K-K, Lauren Mack of TV fame, your homegirl next door. She celebrates a birthday. So happy birthday to you, Lauren Mack. Go check her out, you guys. Go to her YouTube page and check her out. She does kind of design and things of that nature. I know I've contacted her about some projects I wanted to do around my home, and she's helped me out and steered me in the right direction. So happy birthday to you, Lauren Mack. And here's a wedding anniversary. Brad and Kara Townsend celebrated their 20th wedding anniversary. So 20 years in the game. You guys keep pushing, and happy anniversary to you guys. All right. So let's jump into the show with the leveraging your credit. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, you need some credit to be able to leverage it, right? So you got to build some. And I know it may sound easier said than done. It's easier said than done, but you need to build some credit. So how are you going to build some credit? Here's some of the ways you can build your credit. So if you have little to none, it's difficult to almost impossible to go buy a home or to get a vehicle without some kind of assistance such as a co-signer, or you might be able to do so, but then it's at a very high interest rate, things of that nature. So here's some places to start, just so those people that aren't at this level that we're talking about today that are able to leverage their credit, some places to start for you, especially if you're a new listener to the show. So if you're a new listener to the 800 Credit Score Man Show, thank you. Thank you so very much for coming in. Contact me if you have questions, 800 at creditscoreman.com, 800 at creditscoreman.com. I would love to hear from each and every one of you guys, new and old, how you listen to the show. Like, what platform do you listen to it on? Is it iTunes? Is it Apple Podcasts? Is it iHeartRadio? Is it TuneIn? Wherever you listen to the show, contact me, let me know, drop me a little note, and let me know where you listen to the show. So some places to start for those people. Authorized user. An authorized user, go back, listen to some shows, look at the topics of shows. I go into very painstaking detail about authorized users. One of my favorite things to use when it comes to helping people increase their credit. On the authorized users, you're piggybacking off of someone else's credit card to help yourself build credit. And coincidentally, we're going to be having a question of the day today that's about authorized users. So that's a place to start for you if you have little to no credit. Get yourself a gas card. They seem to be easier to come by at whatever major gas station is around wherever you are. They seem to be a little bit easier to come by, even if you don't have a thick credit file, or if you got a thin credit file, which means not a lot of credit. Try getting a gas card. Here's a place where you can use, and unfortunately, I see it on a lot of people's credit because people do not happen to not pay them as well as they should. But Fingerhut's still around. You can get a card from Fingerhut or credit from Fingerhut, and it'll show up on your credit report as well. Just make sure you pay everything on time, right? And then you can get a store card. They seem to be a little bit easier to come by than your quote-unquote regular credit card, which is, I'm putting up air quotes when I say regular, which is like from a bank, right? That's a bank credit card. Get yourself a store credit card, so whatever major store it is. Now, if you have issues with spending, and you're a spender, and if you go in a particular store, you're absolutely going to buy more than you want to buy, and you're going to charge that, then I say pick a card that you're not, to a store that you're not going to go to that often. So if you don't go to Neiman Marcus that often, then pick that particular card. Now, don't start going there all the time just because you have that card. But if it's a place that you don't normally go and you need to try to trick yourself, if you will, to not getting into debt and not messing up this credit card, not messing up your credit, then that's a place that you might want to go and get you a store card from there. Now, you're going to have to use it periodically, right? So they don't close it on you and things of that nature. Just don't go crazy with it. You've been listening to the show. You know how to handle this particular situation. And then here's another thing before I get into the whole leverage piece is get a small loan. Get a small loan from a credit union, preferably, not necessarily because they have better rates than a bank or whatnot, but a credit union may be more willing to give someone with a thin credit file some credit, more so than your local bank that's sitting on the corner or some national bank. They may be a little more amenable to you if you use a credit union, and they have what basically is a credit builder loan to help you with your credit. All right, so it's a loan specifically designed to help you build your credit. That would be a great place for you to start, okay? So now, let's go ahead and let's jump into this good credit and how you're going to leverage it. What should you do? So now that you've got this credit, you've got good credit, right? You got a score at 720, 740, 750 and above. And let me say this. Coincidentally, or maybe not coincidentally, since the show was hijacked, last couple of weeks because of what was going on, the Equifax breach settlement was going on, the Capital One hack was going on. So, we had to hit that breaking news that was happening right then, and it pushed this show back, so this leveraging show. But coincidentally, I guess, I have gotten a handful of people that sent me screenshots of what their credit scores are looking like right now. We got a few people that entered the 800 credit score club. We got a few people that crossed that threshold, and they're in the 700 credit score club now. So I want to say congratulations to each and every one of you guys, and this fits perfectly into what we're talking about today, because we're talking about now that you've obtained that good credit score, you're up where you want to be and you want to even go higher. How do you leverage it? What is it going to do for you in terms of things you can buy or what not? So we're going to talk about that today. So now that you've got that score, you're at the 720, you're at 750, you're above that, you're at 800. Now what are you going to do with it? So the first thing I want to talk about is this. If you have a loan that you're still paying on with a higher than average interest rate, see if it's advisable for you to refinance. So let's say it's your mortgage. If you got a mortgage, you got that mortgage when you had a 600 score. When you had a 640, you got that mortgage. Your interest rate is a little bit higher than it would be if you were to walk in today, if you got that good credit score now, and go ahead and get you a mortgage, right? Or apply for a mortgage. So maybe this your mortgage. Maybe it's your car. Maybe. If If you guys been listening, you know how I feel about refinancing cars. There's a point and a place for everything. Not everything should be done at the same time, or is always a good idea. Excuse me. But if you've got one of those things going, if you've got a personal loan from a finance company, so one of those companies that do some financing for you, the interest rates are a little bit higher. They have some brick and mortar places, not something online necessarily, but they finance before maybe you became a customer of theirs because you financed some furniture somewhere, where there's a finance company, a personal finance company that actually runs that. So maybe you became a customer or became aware of them because of something like that. You went and got some furniture, you went and got some jewelry, you went somewhere like that. Those places are not the places that actually hold your account. You may have a credit card with the company's name on it, but it's actually XYZ Finance. That's actually the person, the place, the company that guaranteed that money and holds your account. So maybe you became a customer of some of the places like that. So the mortgages, the cars, the personal finance, maybe you want to look at possibly refinancing. Now wait a minute. Not all loans are good to be refinanced. So we're going to get into that just a little bit. But before we do that, I want to tell you this. If you call the mortgage company or a mortgage broker or what have you, your typical loan officer, and just, if you call them in and say, hey, I want to refinance. I don't even want any money. I just want to refinance my mortgage. Typically, they'll do just what you're asking them. So they'll go ahead and start processing you for a refinance. Maybe they'll try to talk you into getting some more money, pulling out a little bit of that equity. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But not every refinance is financially smart. Okay? So experts say that if you've got a mortgage and you want to refinance that, if you can drop your interest rate 1 percentage point, then it's worth refinancing. If you can't drop it 1 percentage point, it's not worth refinancing. When you refi, you may not have to come out of your pocket, but fees are associated with that. I mean, this mortgage company, the bank, they have to get paid, or they get paid for, pushing paperwork, right? They got documents they got to fill out, things of that nature. You need a title company, all that kind of stuff. So when they do the refis, there are fees associated with it. Even if you don't have to come out of your pocket, they just roll them into your loan. So not every refinance is a smart decision. But if you can drop your interest rate, especially on a mortgage, by 1%, then it's well worth it. Okay, it's worth you go ahead and getting that refinance now that you've got a good score. So your good score is going to get you the lower interest rate. If you finance at 600, like I said, or 620 or 640 or whatever, and you got that home then your interest rate was much higher. And then maybe even the market is even better right now. Maybe you got your home 8 years ago and the interest rates were higher, and now here you are and the interest rates are lower. It's going to be a good thing for you if you did it that way. So that's a kind of a time that you need to go ahead and leverage your good credit at this particular point. Now, generally speaking, now if you have a 15-year, if you have 15 years left on your mortgage, you had a 30-year mortgage, you've got 15 years left. It's not necessarily a smart idea to go ahead and refinance for 30 years, right? Now you're putting another 15 years on the loan when you only have 15 years left. You don't want to do that. That's not a smart decision at all. But let's say you bought your home 5 years ago. You had a 30-year mortgage. You bought it 5 years ago. You got 25 more years to pay on it. You can drop your interest rate 1%, and maybe you can refinance it and afford to pay on a 15-year loan or a 20-year loan. If you're able to do that, you are winning. You are absolutely winning. You drop the interest rate. You lower the time that you have to pay on it as well by 5 or even by 10 years. You are absolutely winning if you can do that. Those are the kinds of things that you can do. The mortgage typically is going to be the biggest purchase that you're going to make in your life. So doing it this way, doing it that way is absolutely smart, and you're absolutely on top of your game now that you've reached the level where you want to be. So that's very, very smart. So that's one thing you can do when it comes down to leveraging your credit. So then now, let's go to another thing before we do the question of the day. So one of the easiest calls you can make when it comes to this is to your insurance company. Yes, your home and your auto consider your credit score as a factor when they're figuring what your premium is. So yes, your credit score is a part of that. Now, it's not a hard inquiry